We are continuing to say thank you to our veterans, our military servicemen and women from Southwest Michigan and Michiana. And we do this in our May We Thank You virtual tour this year by inviting some of our veterans in the area to join us in conversation. And today we are joined by Sean Smith. Sean, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Matt. How you doing?
Doing awesome, doing awesome. I appreciate you joining us here for the conversation here today. And first and foremost, I'm going to take a guess and say you might be with the United States Coast Guard. Is that right?
Yes, sir. I was a Coast Guard veteran. Yes, sir.
Excellent. Well, tell me a little bit about the Coast Guard and what made you choose the Coast Guard to go into versus other branches of military.
Well, the Coast Guard is actually a really unique service in the aspect of it is always mission ready. Whether we are in a conflict or war or not, the U.S. Coast Guard has always got to be ready to do its mission 24/7, 365 every single year. There is no rest for it. So that's pretty unique for it. The other thing is, and the main reason why I wanted to do this is there's unfortunately still a lot of folks that don't realize the Coast Guard is a military service.
It's very true. You know, I've got my neighbor across the road here who actually is also in the United States Coast Guard, currently active, and he is actually transitioning into to being a drill sergeant for new recruits, and he's enjoying that quite a bit. But you know, the Coast Guard, he's been able to share. He talked to us last year on the May We Thank You tour and talked a little bit about some of the different aspects of it. Now, here in Southwest Michigan, obviously having Lake Michigan, there's a lot of rescue missions that we'll say that that the Coast Guard does too. But have you only served here in Southwest Michigan, or did you have an opportunity to go other places?
I actually been other places. I went to boot camp in Cape May, New Jersey. I did get stationed in Sheboygan, Michigan, my first duty station on the original icebreaker Mackinac. Got to decommission that, so I got to do ice missions there. I was also stationed in Yorktown, Virginia for my A school, and then in South Portland, Maine after that.
Wow. So you've had quite a run there. So how many years were you in active?
I was 4 years.
That's a lot to do in 4 years.
It was a lot to do in 4 years. Yes, yes. It is. It is a grind. You definitely do have to keep your mindset steady on. I can get through this. I can do this.
What you know, going into that, what was something that maybe you learned about yourself when you started, you know, through boot camp and even through your active service?
The resilience that I had. I always thought that I was a resilient person, but you never really truly get your resilience tested until you have to go through some of those things. It when you're in, it is a job that never ends. You always have to be ready to answer that call, and it especially when you're underway on a ship, it's 24/7 every day that you're out there. And some days you're gone for months on end. You don't get to see land or come back and things. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is how much it actually goes into being in the military and the service that you did. So with your service, was there kind of a highlight? One of the things that you're like, man, this is the coolest thing out of my entire military career?
Honestly, one of the coolest things that I thought was awesome is the Mackinac. Every year we would do a trip from up north down to Chicago in the winter, and we would go and we would cut down thousands of Christmas trees and take them into Chicago and donate them to inner city families that had nothing and no way to get Christmas trees for their children. And that to me was just absolutely amazing. And the reception that we would get from the whole city of Chicago for doing that was just awesome.
That sounds pretty cool to be able to not only serve your country but also give back in a way like that, because serving your country is about giving back. I mean, that's exactly what it is. You're giving your time, you're giving your resources, your energy to the families and that you will never meet. But this is an opportunity where you actually did get to see some of these families, it sounds like.
Yes, it was really awesome. You know, and on top of that, just to have the people that were there in the service to guide you, that helped you become a better person, not just for the service, but just in general. There's some of the people that I served with that I will never be able to thank enough for the things that they instilled into me and helped me build as a person.
It's amazing how much that comes up in our conversations, talking about that brotherhood, that family lifestyle with everybody that you serve with, and the fact that the relationships that you make during your time serving aren't just for those, in your case, 4 years, they're legitimately lifelong. So, when did you actually get out?
I got out at the end of 2008.
Okay, so it's been, 12, 13 years or so. And since then, have you had the opportunity to meet up again with some of your former, I guess, people in your team?
I haven't gotten to physically meet with too many of them. Now I've gotten through, social media being more prevalent and things like that. I've gotten to keep in contact with quite a few of them that actually do mean a lot to me. So that's been great. Um, I've always wanted to go back to the Mackinac. It's now a museum up in Mackinac City, and they have a get together for people that served on the Mackinac once in a while. And I've always wanted to go to that.
That'd be pretty cool to be able to go back and reflect and see that, and be back with different circumstances where you don't have to you know be working so hard. You get to actually sit and enjoy that a little bit more.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, because that was what I'll be honest with you. At the moments that I was there, I felt like I despised it. Like, oh my gosh. And then it didn't take long after not being there to realize that I absolutely missed it, and it was one of the best things ever to happen.
You mentioned 4 years was the
Yes.
term of service. Was there ever anything that made you say, you know what, I want to keep going in this, or was it extra circumstances that caused you to say, you know what, 4 years, that's enough for me?
Well, for myself, it was just I knew with some of the other things that I wanted in life, it was not going to be conducive to doing those things. Um, I take my hat off to anyone who serves in the military for a 20 plus years time span, because it takes a unique individual to be able to make that work. I was single the whole time, but I knew I wanted to have a family and things, and I just wasn't going to be willing to do that sort of lifestyle to a family. And to those who can make that work, I take my hat off to them, because that's really hard.
With your service that you had, the time that you spent in there, obviously we know that veterans from past eras, specifically even like the Vietnam War, were not as well received as they are today. Have you had any opportunity to speak with some of the veterans or people who might have served in those years and those decades, a little bit more about their service?
Actually, I have. My family members go way back into serving the country. My father was a MP in the Army. Uh, my grandfather was in World War II in Korea. I have uncles that served in Vietnam. I have extended family that was in Vietnam. And I've gotten to talk to a lot of them. And unfortunately, a lot of them do feel like they got kind of left behind, and most of the, especially the Vietnam era vets, a lot of them were drafted. They didn't even voluntarily go. And even though I do understand the political angst of the time about the war, the veterans didn't do those things, and they got treated horribly anyway. And I feel horrible for them, because a lot of them still to this day feel like they've gotten completely forgotten. and it's a shame, really.
It definitely is, and we have had the opportunity to speak to many veterans that were again serving in the Vietnam War, and not an easy time. Not only for the reception back from their home country, who should be extremely grateful that they did serve, but for the fact that it was such a difficult time for what they had to go through while serving too. So,
Oh,
um,
yes.
yeah, it's a different day and age now. I feel like we have a lot of patriotism here in our country, and specifically here in Southwest Michigan. But I want to ask you,
Mhm.
what does patriotism look like in your eyes from a veteran's perspective? What should we do?
Patriotism to me is a person using the very rights that everyone who signed that dotted line swore an oath to protect. It doesn't even have to mean that I agree with what it is that you are doing. But if it's based on using your rights given to you in this country, I take that as the biggest thank you that you possibly can. Because that's why we do what we did, was to defend this country and the citizens of this country rights to do as they see fit within the confines of the law.
Yeah, it's freedom of speech, just the tip of the iceberg of the rights that were fought for.
Right. And it's not just that. I mean, I know that's the first and foremost thing that a lot of people go to, because that's the one that, is the most looked at, I suppose. But it's all of them. It's absolutely all of them. And it, whenever I see, and like I said, I don't always agree with the way that people do or go about things, but it's like, wow, they're actually using that right, that our Constitution gives them. And it makes me feel good that even for a snippet of time, I did what I could to help defend and protect that.
Definitely. Well, the last question I'm going to ask you, I want to know, is there a story, or I know we already talked a little bit about the Christmas tree story,
Mhm.
but is there a story that you would be willing to share from your time and your service, about again, really anything? What do you got for us?
Oh man, I guess the thing that I would probably, you know, share would be that uh, the experience of being out in the middle of Lake Superior in December when it's negative 40 degrees and literally seeing an iceberg float by you on a great lake is just absolutely insane. I don't even know how I can explain that to somebody until you actually got the opportunity to see it. That, or seeing bears swim around in Lake Superior right next to the ship and looking up at you like you're the foreigner there, because nothing like that is really up there. It's so untouched by mankind for the most part, and it's just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, spending a lot of time up on Lake Superior myself in my little younger days, I can attest. Lake Superior is a gorgeous place. You go to Madeline Island and all of those islands up there, the sea caves. It's something special for sure.
It is.
Yeah. Well, Sean, the whole point of doing this tour is to, like I said, get a little insight as to what service is like for us as civilians, to have that realization, but also to share our gratitude with you. And on behalf of everybody at Y Country, and on behalf of everybody in Southwest Michigan, thank you for your service and choosing to sign up to serve your country. We appreciate it.
It was the best thing I ever did, man. Thank you.
Awesome. You bet. Thank you. And again, that is the May We Thank You tour that we are doing. If you are a veteran as well and you'd like to share your story, please visit maywethankyou.com. We would absolutely love to chat with you as well.